Okay, we live. This is my little sister. She's getting ready for bed. She's tired. She's the perfect candidate to read this stuff with. She's gonna deny it's bedtime. But it is bedtime. Oh. No, it's bedtime. It is her bedtime. So I got this app. It's bedtime stories for kids. Now she's getting ready for bed. So the lighting on here is going to be terrible because I don't want all the lights on because it becomes too bright. And then your mind automatically thinks, I need to be awake. So one light on. She'll be able to fall asleep to this. Sensitive to that. So we're going to have to read this. Okay, which one of these you want to read first?
Bunny.
The bunnies? Okay.
Bunny.
The story is called What is Daddy Doing?
Bunny.
This will be fun. So I'll show you the pictures as we go. It's a father bunny sweeping the floor. So what is Daddy doing? Dad is sleeping. He's sleeping. Dad is sweeping the floor. Pretty interesting. What is Dad doing now? Dad's cooking. See this rabbit? The Dad's cooking. What is Dad doing now? Dad's washing clothes. What is Dad doing? Dad's ironing the clothes. What is Dad doing now? Dad's carrying buckets of water to fill at the well. To fill the well. Interesting. This doesn't seem like a bedtime story. What is Mommy doing? Mommy is sweeping the floor with Dad. This sounds like what our parents would do. What is Mom doing? Mom is cooking with Dad. This does happen a lot. What is Mom doing now? Mom is washing clothes with Dad. This is too happy of a story. It needs to be bedtime related. What is Mom doing now? She's ironing clothes with Dad. What is Mom doing now? Mom and Dad help each other fill the water into the well. Mom and Dad are helping each other do the housework. I just get a bunch of notifications. No, I know. We help Mom and Dad do the housework too. That's cute. Oh, and then it gives you a game to play with kids. That's lovely. Get your kids to clean. I wonder if I look up bedtime story. She's supposed to be going to bed, but everything I watch with her keeps her awake. Here. Let's do this. We're going to Google it. What? You ready for sleep? You don't want to sleep? You want the sheeps?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're not reading the sheeps. 5 minutes. Stories. These ones are fairy tales.
Please.
I'll read you the sheep one in the morning. How about the lost toy? This little boy has a giraffe.
No, we don't.
Okay. This one's called the lost toy. If I could get the words to load in, that'd be lovely. That's a picture book. No, I have to explain what's going on.
Oh.
I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. Okay, wait. Is it all pictures? I'll make this up as we go. This is Orange, the giraffe. He's a brown bunch of oranges. I don't know what his actual name is. And this little boy has this giraffe. It's his best friend. Now, he goes in a bus with who I assume to be his parents, because that guy is holding that woman's hand, that woman is holding his hand. I assume that's his parents. Okay, so the kid loses the giraffe and he puts himself on the floor behind the bus. Like normal kids do. The giraffe is in a woman's purse. How did she get that giraffe? So they search all over town. And he jumps into the oranges! And the dog finds the giraffe. The dog helps him find the man. The man brings the giraffe back to the little boy. And the little boy is so happy. Because I make that concerned face when I'm happy. Okay. Bedtime stories for kids. About sheep. The sheep and the dog. It's a bedtime story. See, my channel's all over the place. We read scary stories, we read kid stories. Okay. This is based on an Aesop's fable. There, the dog and the sheep and the dog. Okay. Oh boy, said Dodger, the dog. Oh, his name was Dodger. That's cute. I like that. I don't understand. Oh, I can't wait to chew on this bone. He has a bone by his arm. Where'd you get a bone? Said Sharon the sheep. Sharon the sheep. Cute. Oh, it's alright. You got a boo-boo? The farmer gave it to me. He said I earned it for being such a hard worker. A hard worker? All you do is lie around all day. While we sheep do all the hard work. You can't hold the sheep. No. You can look into the camera and go, please. It doesn't work on me. Wait a minute. Let's fix you. I know. Lying around is hard work, said Dodger. He went back to chewing his bone. I scrolled down too far. He went back to chewing his bone. Sharon the sheep ran off to tell the other sheep. You won't believe what I tell you, Sharon said when she saw her friends. The lazy dog Dodger got another treat for being a hard worker. When the farmer came around with their evening meal, all the sheep gathered around him. Farmer, we have something to say to you, said Sharon. Go ahead, said the farmer. The farmer can hear the animals talking. Lovely. Every day, all Dodger does is lie around and wait for you to give him treats for being a hard worker. We provide wool, lambs, and milk, but we never get treats. All we ever get is grass. Is that so? Well, I suppose I have to change the way things are done around here, said the farmer. The sheep were very happy that the farmer listened to their complaints and couldn't wait to see what treats they would get. However, when the farmer came back, he didn't have treats. Instead, he called Dodger and had the dog follow him back to the farmhouse. Maybe he's going to make Dodger work for his treats. We don't need that lazy dog around here anymore. Oh, I get it. However, I read that. It started to get dark and the sheep got ready to go to sleep. When they just were about to close their eyes, they heard the sound of wolves. Oh no, said Sharon, the wolves are coming. You see where they're going at? As the sound of wolves got closer, the sheep got scared. Just then the sound of wolves was interrupted by a loud barking. It was Dodger. He raced to the sheep and scared away the wolves. Oh, Dodger, you saved our lives. The other sheep chimed in. Do you think I'm such a lazy dog now, said Dodger. Oh no, you're a hero. I know it might look like I lie around all day, but without me, you'd be eaten by wolves and thieves would come and steal you. And then the sheep apologized for calling him lazy. We didn't realize how much you really did. Yeah, rudenesses. He threw the dog another bone, even though the dog didn't look like he worked hard. Sharon and the other sheep now realized how important the dog was. You get it? She doesn't get it. This one's called The Pig, the Goat, and the Sheep. You want me to take the necklace off? You can have the necklace. Oh my word, I have an eyelash in my eyeball. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a pig named Laylee and a goat named Lily. They had a desire to look around the fields and feel the fresh air, so they both decided to go to the hill. When the master let them free on Sundays, they decided to go to the hill when the farmer would let them free on Sundays. So they waited for Sunday. They waited very eagerly. That fine day had come. Laylee, and Lily decided to go to the hill. They were excited to visit the top of the hills because they heard from their friend Lalu, the sheep. The nearby hills were beautiful, and they had green. The hills will be beautiful, green. Fresh air will be there, and lots of places to run around and play. Yeah? You're pulling my hair. Shush. Okay. I lost my place. So today, Laylee and Lily hopped, jumped, ran, and walked to the hills, having so much fun. Soon they reached the hills. Once they got to the hills, they were really very happy. No words could express how they felt because it was their first time visiting the hills. Lolly, I don't know how you pronounce the name, and Lily had raced that whoever reached the top first, but still together when Laylee was tired. Lily would stop, and when Lily was tired, Laylee would stop. Finally, they both reached the top of the hill. They were really, really very, very happy and started to feel the fresh air. After that, they both ran around and played together. They thought the hills were slide. And they tried to glide down. And they ran from the top. Whee! And from down to the top. Sweet! When they were hungry, they had some grass and carrots. After that, they started playing again. They didn't even know how fast the day passed. Now they were very tired still, but they needed to go home. Wait a minute. No, it's not playtime. They need to go home. So they started walking back before the sun went down and played the whole day. They walked very slowly, and they finally reached home and started talking to the rest. The master saw both looked really happy, and from then on, the master allowed every week both Laylee and Lily to go to their nearby hills along with their friends Lolly the sheep and have fun. Now, Laylee the pig and Lily the goat were very happy, and this made their master very happy as well. What does the master have to do with this? Nothing. Okay. Okay, this one's called The Wonderful Sheep. Nope. Okay. This one says it's a vintage fairy tale may contain violence. And if it does, we'll skip over the violence. Everyone knows how I work here. Once upon a time, in the days of when fairies lived, there was a king who had 3 daughters, who were all very young and clever and beautiful. But the youngest of the 3, who was called Miranda, was the prettiest and most beloved. Wonderful. Parents picking favorites. The king gave her more dresses and jewels in a month than he gave the others in a year. But she was so generous that she shared everything with her sisters, and they were very happy and fond of each other. Now, the king had some quarrelsome neighbors who were tired of leaving him in peace. They began to make war upon him so fiercely that he feared he would be altogether gotten rid of if he did not make an effort to defend himself. So he collected a great army and set off to fight them, leaving the princesses with the governess in the castle, where news of the war was brought every day. Sometimes that the king had taken a town or won a battle, and at last that he had altogether overcome his enemies and chased them out of his kingdom, and was coming back to the castle as quickly as possible to see his dear little Miranda, who he loves so much. He has 3 daughters. Why doesn't he care about the other 2? When he saw them all so beautiful, he embraced them, but gave Miranda more kisses than the others. Presently, a splendid buffet was served, and the king and his daughter sat down to it. And he always thought that there was something special and some special meaning in this. And he said to his eldest, "Tell me, why have you chosen a green dress?" "Sire," she answered, "have you heard of your victories? I thought green would signify my joy and the hope of your speedy return." "That is a very good answer." And he continued with the next. "Why'd you wear a blue dress?" "Sire," the next one said, "to show you that we constantly hope for your success, and the sight of you is a welcome to me as the sky with its beautiful stars." "Why," said the king, "your wise answers astonish me." "And you, Miranda, what made you wear all white?" "Because, sire, white suits me better than anything else." "What? Was all that thought of you a vain child?" "Great." "I thought you would be pleased," said the princess. That was all. The king, who loved her, was satisfied with this, and even pretended to be pleased that she had not told him all her reasons at first. "And now," he said, "as I slept. I don't know what the word's supposed to be. I don't even know what that one means. And it is not yet time to go to bed. Tell me what you dreamt last night." The eldest said she dreamed that he had brought her a new dress, and precious stones and gold embroideries and on it were brighter than the sun. But the second told her dream to the king, that the king had brought her a spinning wheel and distaff, and that she might spin him some shirts. I don't think it has to do with llamas, hon. I'll read you another story with llamas. Okay? You let me finish this one. I'll read you one with llamas. You like llamas? Oh, that's random. Yeah. But the youngest. I dreamt that my second sister was to be married, and on her wedding day, you, father, held a gold ewe and said, "Come, Miranda, I will hold the water that you may dip your hands in." The king became very angry when he had heard this dream and frowned horribly. Indeed, he had such an ugly face that everyone knew how angry he was. And he got up, went off to bed in a hurry. You want to hear a story about a llama? Can I finish this one first? She heard you. You can have mom. I'm going to finish these princess stories. She just asked me to read her a story about llamas. Okay. We're going to keep reading. I'm going to leave the lighting the way it is. And I'll finish the story and we'll call it good. So, the youngest star is a little conceited, thinks about herself. But that's mostly for shame on the king, who spoils her more than any of the other daughters. What they tell you here basically is the other girls that aren't spoiled don't actually think of themselves as much as the youngest does, who is completely spoiled in riches. Does the proud daughter wish to make her Does the proud girl wish to make me her slave? He said to himself. I am not surprised at her choosing a dress for herself in white satin without a thought of me. She doesn't think of me worthy of her consideration, but soon I will put an end to her pretensions. Okay. So he sent for the captain of his bodyguard and said to him, You have heard Princess Miranda's dream. I consider it strange against me. Therefore, I order you to take her away into the forest, and that I may be sure it is done, you bring me her horse in a carriage. If you attempt to deceive me, you will be put to death. Oh. The story got dark. Alright. The captain of the guard was very much astonished when he heard this barbaric order, but he did not dare to contradict the king for fear of making him angry. And causing him to send someone else. So he answered he would fetch the princess and do as the king had said. When he went to her room, then would hardly let him in. It was so early, but he said that the king had sent for Miranda. So she got up quickly and came out. A little girl named Patiapata, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it starts with a P, held up her train and her pet monkey and her little dog and ran after her. The monkey was called Garbagon, and the little dog was called Tintin. The captain of the guard begged Miranda to come down into the garden where the king enjoyed the fresh air, and when they got there he pretended to search for him, but as he was nowhere to be found. No doubt his majesty has strolled into the forest, he said, and opened a little door that led through. But this time the daylight began to appear, and the princess looked at her conductor and saw that he had tears in his eyes and seemed too sad to speak. So what is the matter? She said in the kindest way. You seem very sorrowful. Alas, princess, he answered, who would not be sorrowful for who was ordered such horrible things as I have done? The king has commanded me to leave you here, and if I disobey, I shall lose my life. The poor princess was terrified. Okay. It kind of sounds like a cross between, I can't remember the other story, but like this part reminds me of Snow White, where the huntsman is supposed to take her heart and he doesn't want to. That part of that movie. That's all I can think of. Princess, being terrified, grew very pale and began to cry softly, looking up at the captain guard with her beautiful eyes, accentuate beautiful eyes, said gently, will you have the heart to leave me here? I have done nothing to you, any harm, and have spoken well of you to the king, and if I deserve my father's anger, I will suffer without a murmur. But alas, he is unjust to complain of me. Unjust to complain at you. Yeah, it's a little harsh leaving you in the woods. But not really, considering you don't give a crap. You don't actually care. You're going to do anything for yourself. I mean, you got that going for you. Now he is unjust to complain of me when I have always treated him with love and respect. No, she hasn't. And the captain guard should know that, considering he should be there spending time with all the princesses. He should know every individual little trait about each and every one of them. Fear nothing, princess, said the guard. I would far rather die myself than hurt you. But even if I am killed for you, you will not be safe. You must find some other way of making the king believe you're dead. He didn't ask you to kill her. He asked you to leave her. in the forest. Who's to say she can't find means of living in that forest by herself? He didn't ask you to kill her. It's not at all what he asked you to do. Oh my gosh. He's dumb. He's dumb. I wouldn't do that. But I also wouldn't want to leave him there. So what can you do unless you take him my things? He will never believe you. Okay, I'm going back to what he asked her for. Chose green dress. White suits are better. Yeah, she's has no consideration. You must bring me her horse and carriage. Where does he say you have to take her life? Or let her die? Or kill her yourself? Never says that. He never says you have to hurt her. Unless he's talking, he doesn't want to hurt her emotionally. But I mean, oh my gosh, it doesn't make sense. Because he doesn't ask him to hurt her. Oh. The princess and the captain of the guard were talking so earnestly that they did not think of Patipata. Again, name starts with a P. But she had overheard all they said, and now came and threw herself at Miranda's feet. Madam, she said, I offer my life. Let me be killed. I shall be only too happy to die for such a kind mistress. He didn't ask him to kill her. What? He didn't ask her. He didn't ask him. Didn't ask him to kill her. Horse and a carriage can't mean anything else. Well, I don't understand. He didn't ask anyone to die. Oh my gosh. They're not in a horse and a carriage. Huh. Wait a minute. Research time. Yeah, no. Video. Yeah, no, doesn't mean anything else. So, they're all making a big deal for nothing. What?
I thought you were asking you questions, that's all.
No, I ask myself questions. And I usually don't get answers from myself. Just, he didn't ask anyone to die. So why is everyone so willing to die? It seems dumb. One, it might be dumb on my part because I'm not understanding what's going on. Or two, someone was writing this and not paying attention to what they were writing. So, it's one of the things. I think it's the second thing. Why? Cried the princess. That would never do. Your life is too precious to me as my own, especially after such a proof of your affection as you have just given me. You're right, princess, said Gabagon. That the dog? No, that's not the dog. That's the monkey, right? What the hell is it? I'm not going back to look either. I think it's the monkey because the dog's name is Tintin. To love such a faithful slave as Patapaya, she's her slave. What? Oh, my brain. That's not what I thought. Okay. So apparently this, whatever. She is of more use to you than I am. He offers to have his body parts taken and given to the king. Oh my gosh. Who wrote this? Who wrote this and thought, oh, this is okay. This is a children's bedtime story. It is not. No, my little Gabagon. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I cannot bear to think of taking your life. Yeah, but no one was asked to die. Such a good little dog as I could not think of letting either of you die for his mistress. If anyone is to die for her, it is me. And then began a great dispute between everyone. And they came with high words, until at last Gabagon was quicker than the others and ran up to the very nearest of the tree and fell head first to the ground and died. Is that a person? I thought it was an animal. It is a monkey. The animals can talk. Okay. So doesn't make it any better. It's dead. Oh my god. This is not a kid's story. I don't know why I wrote this. The princess was very sorry, but as Gabagon was really dead, she allowed the captain of the guard to take her tongue. But alas, it was a smaller one, not as big as the princess's thumb. Now, they decided sorrowfully that there was no use of that at all. The king would not have taken it by that for a minute.
Want to do M&M?
Sure. Really good. Thank you. Actually, it has like actual M&Ms. Shocking. Okay. Okay, I just wrote the next line. And I can't word this any other way. I can't. The honors of saving your life is mine, interrupted Pata, whatever. And before they could prevent her, she picked up a knife and cut off her own head on an instant. Am I not unlucky? Cried the poor princess. I lose everything and everyone I love, and am none better for it. If you had accepted my offer, Tintin said, you would have had me to regret, and I shall have had your gratitude. Miranda kissed her little dog. This story's irritating me bitterly, and at last she could not bear it no longer and turned away into the forest, which is what you were supposed to do to begin with. You were supposed to go into the forest and stay. You let them die. So everyone that heard this didn't hear the king say, horse carriage. Where the hell's the horse? Where the hell's the carriage? There's no reference to anything else. He didn't ask for them to die. And yet, two people have ended themselves. A monkey and an actual person. Both are cruel and unusual. They didn't have to die. They just didn't. This is not a kid's story. By any stretch of the imagination. So the reason you would read this to a little kid. I kind of feel bad for reading the story now. Because I was going to read this to Nessa. She could not leave the place until she had buried them in little mossy graves at the foot of a tree. And they all died to save her life. And she began to think where she could go for safety, for the forest was too close to the father's castle that she might be seen and recognized by first passers-by. And besides that, it was full of lions and wolves who would have snapped back at the princess just like she was a stray prince. Oh my gosh. I want to skip to the end. The story takes too long. So the king finds out, and apparently this displeases a sheep. He found out it wasn't Miranda that was dead. The guard is dead. And she's just let home. Like nothing ever happened. Like this teacher didn't teach her anything. Teaches her someone else will pay the toll for anything. No one was asked to die. Yet 2 people died. And she finds herself grief-stricken because they're dead. 1, that's obvious. She freaking let them die. 2, the guard ends up dead anyway. And the king just lets her back. So, because of her, 3 people die. Okay, technically 1 is a monkey, but animals don't deserve to die like that. Whether it's a story or not, these are just my beliefs. 2, 3. This is not a child's story. You don't read bedtime stories where children can read about people killing themselves. And I've expressed many times I hate that topic being in stories for the fact of it being just there, not for any real reason. Not saying that doesn't happen. It's something that happens. But it's not in any way teaching people that that's not okay. That's not okay. None of that's okay. This is not a child's bedtime story. I'm kind of glad Nessa left. Vintage fairy tale may contain violence. Does contain violence. Okay, it does tell you they encourage parents when I'm not a parent, so I don't count. To read beforehand if your child's too sensitive to these themes. Nessa is very sensitive to the theme of violence. She hates violence. She can't even watch anything on TV, whether it be a cartoon, without crying over something being too sad or too violent for her, which is a good thing. It's good to have a sensitive kid. But this isn't a child's story at all. They don't tell you here, oh yeah, there's depictions of suicide and there's death, mostly suicide, and that's not okay. Not to me. It's not under any stretch okay. It doesn't teach the princess anything, though. Let's get back on point. The princess doesn't learn anything. She doesn't get anything from this. She gets let back into the castle, which makes her happy. The king thinks she learned her lesson. What's he going to do? He's going to go back to spoiling her, isn't he? It's not like he's going to change. She wasn't out there long enough to change. And she didn't learn anything. And no one needed to die. I'm never going to get over that. No one needed to die. He didn't ask for her heart, her tongue, or anything from any other person. Guard ends up dead. What the hell? This is not, you should not throw this as kid story. I get princesses, you think children, but in reality, if it touches on dark themes like that, should not be for kids. Little kids are not ready for that. Though they might not understand what that is. That's not a subject you should just throw children into. This is not a bedtime story. under any circumstances, don't read this to your kids before bed. You'll probably end up giving them nightmares. I'm just saying. My sisters are very, very sensitive, which is I think it's a good thing. But this would be something that would give them nightmares. And it's super sad. And I'm mad that that's how that story went. But still, no one needed to die. And who wrote this story, wrote it out? Were they not paying attention to any of the details because it was contradicted? They're all like, horse and carriage. And then they're like, oh, you need her tongue. No, that's not what happened. You can't have two different things. Two, it's just not. No, it's not. I'm a very opinionative person, as you've noticed from my stories. I don't like stories like this. I don't. I've read a lot of dark fairy tales. I have. Some of them get very dark, and I voice my opinion on that. But most of them, you can cover it up and be child appropriate. Now, if I thought about it, I could probably figure out a way to make this super kid friendly. But, no, I can't. Not this very moment. I should have read it first. But okay, so she meets the wonderful sheep, and the sheep is what brings her home. And it's just not. It's not a kid's story. It's not bedtime at all. It reminds me of German fairy tales. Most fairy tales I know are German, and they get very dark and whatever. But I don't think. I'm just saying German stories are very dark. And I don't think this is a bedtime story. I don't think you should put this out there as a bedtime story for children. You're going to scare them, and these aren't topics you need to throw at children. Especially if they don't understand, they might. Some kids might, but it's not something you throw at kids before they go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Does any of that make sense? Hopefully it does. Probably doesn't. But, there's my opinion on that story. I read a bunch of cute ones, and I got that one. That it's not a bedtime story. There was no need for anything that happened. The princess learns nothing. What do kids get from this? That you get what you want, and when you get told you're going to get in trouble for it, you get thrown into a forest, you meet a wonderful sheep who ends up bringing you home. And you learn nothing, and people die for you who don't need to die. Is that what kids are going to pick up from this? That's most probably that's what I got from this, and it doesn't make sense. Also, you should treat your kids equally. I grew up and still am in a house where every kid is treated equally. None of us are favorited. We're all treated equally. Parents should not choose their favorites between children. That's just my opinion. The story has so many things that I think are wrong with it, but not getting into that. So that's this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.